there's purpose in your pain. Father, we ask that by the power of your word and the goodness of your presence, that in the middle of a season of uncertainty, doubts, frustration, weariness, pain, that we could start to sense your purpose, your goodness, your provision. God, speak to us today. Help us to see there is a reason, there is a purpose in our pain.
You don't know what God is making while you're aching. You don't know what God is making while you're crying. You don't know what God is making while you're lonely. You don't know what God is making while you're suffering. But I declare unto you, he is making something. You may feel dislocated. You may feel dislodged. You can't always see what the master is doing. Only when we look back, then we see that God had a plan.
One of the most depressing things that I hear people say so often is they'll say, I just don't see the purpose. What's the point? It might be in their marriage, it might be in their finances, it might be spiritually when it comes to the church. They'll say, what's the purpose? I just don't see the purpose. I'm exhausted. Why should I keep trying? Why do I try to do what's right when it doesn't seem to make any difference at all? It just doesn't seem to matter. I don't see the purpose. There is a reason.
How many of you know and understand that pain has a purpose? No pain should come in my life without me learning from that pain. And Peter is telling the church here, understanding the significance of the pain that they are going through, but also the purpose that the pain serves. See, pain has a sneaky way of pushing us back to the feet of Jesus. Pain has a sneaky way of pushing us back into the presence of God. The pain creates a resilience in us that can only come through struggle. If you're listening to me right now and you say, Pastor, I am struggling with pain. I am struggling with trials. I am struggling with hurdles. My answer to you would be, then you should be grateful to God, because struggle is the proof that you have not been overtaken by your enemy. Struggle is the proof that your adversary has not conquered you. Struggle is the proof that the enemy is not bigger than your God. Because the fact that you are still struggling and the fact that you're still fighting is an indicator that there's something more after this. When you bring yourself to the place where you're too weak to fight, when you bring yourself to the place where you're too weak to struggle, then you should be cautious and worried that the enemy has the upper hand.
You see, in order to develop real quality, it takes time, and it takes pain, and it takes endurance, and it takes grief, and it takes trouble, and it takes turmoil, and it takes destruction and demolition. Demolition is a messy thing. If you get ready to remodel your house, expect to have some mess. And when God gets ready to recycle you, he does it through the things you suffer and the things you endure. That sometimes when God approaches you, he approaches you and he looks like a slayer because he's coming with something that hurts. And you have to trust his character when you don't understand his methods. You have to understand his acts by believing in his way. Because the husbandman is our father, he cuts us in all the right places. And we can do nothing without him. We can be nothing without him. We cannot reach the height and the hope of the purpose of our calling without him, because only the manufacturer knows how fast the car will go.
You're hurting, and you've been hurting for a long, long time. Some of you perhaps most of your life because of something that happened to you in your childhood. And it's because you have refused to lay it down. Today's the day to lay it down. Everybody in life is going to get hurt. I don't care who you are, what your background is. You have already been hurt. You probably will get hurt again. But the good news is the great healer lives on the inside of us as believers in Jesus Christ.